Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to Play It Loud. This time I want to talk about why we won't get a Beatles Rubber Soul box set. The YouTube is full of Beatles fans, Beatles videos, and everybody's asking, why haven't we got a Rubber Soul box set? The anniversary has passed, but we've had a box set for Sgt. Pepper, for Let It Be, for Revolver, for the White Album. And if they're working backwards, the next logical one is Rubber Soul. I don't think it's going to happen. They passed on the last 2 years, and I think there's a reason for that. Apple Corps, the Beatles, certainly Paul McCartney, and those who represent, Ringo and Sean and Yoko and the Harrisons, they have a big input into what's going to be put out. And for many years now, their view has been, we need to get the next generation. We need to pull the next generation into the Beatles catalogue because this is a company and companies make money. At least they try to. And the more money they make, the happier they are. And if you can bring in the next generation and you can sell your catalogue to them, then you're going to make a lot of money. And the Beatles, Apple Corps, publishing house, they've been very good at this since at least 1990. EMI, going back to the 70s, didn't realise what a treasure chest they had. And after the Beatles had broken up, there were a number of, frankly, iffy Beatles compilations put out. Beatles at the Movies, Beatles love songs, Beatles rock and roll, all confined to history now. You can't even find them in the second-hand shops, but not a great loss. They finally realised that they were sitting on a gold mine, and what could they do with it? I don't think they realised exactly how big that gold mine was until they came up with a couple of albums. Yeah, let's have a look at them. That's one of them. What they got was a remastering of a lot of Beatles songs strung together by George Martin's son. And it had an impact. It had a massive impact. People talked about it. It was in the newspapers, probably on the news, because this was the first time anybody had played with the Beatles' music. And it was very well received. Circus Soleil ran, I think, in Las Vegas for some considerable time behind the music, and there are still versions of it going out, I understand, in various parts of the world. It's still popular. But it lit a fuse. It showed that there was money in the Beatles catalogue, and perhaps more money than even Apple Corps realised. And in 1990, they decided that they would release these, the anthology series. This is what we're being told, is likely to be coming out this year again. It's the 30th anniversary, and like most Beatles albums, they tend to bring out the big stuff for Christmas. It comes out around October, November, so that they can hit the market. I don't know where this rumour started, and I'm not at all sure how they're going to do it. Will they bring out exactly the same as what they had 30 years ago, only perhaps polished up a little bit? There's a 6-hour and a 10-hour movie documentary, which was on TVs at the time. Come out on Blu-ray, I guess. And will it come out on TV again? Will the TV stations take it again? Unless there's something different. And I'm not sure what they could do to make it different. And if they're going to put, those are triple albums, if they're going to put all of those albums into a box, it's going to get very expensive. If they release them singularly, it's got to have something different. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it doesn't really matter, does it? That kick-started interest in the Beatles for that generation. But inevitably, we move on. Generations get older and we've got to get to the next ones. Do you remember this? The Beatles number ones. Again, this was massive. It sold lots and lots of copies worldwide, and because it is a hits album, it brought the best of the Beatles to the attention of another generation. And whoever it is, Apple Corps, I'm guessing, they're going to want those people to move out and get more of the Beatles catalogue. And I think they did. It was very, very successful. But we'll move on. Years passed, and we now need to get to the next generation. And the next generation, I didn't bring it out, probably started with the release of the box set of Sgt. Pepper's. Not just a box set of an album, but with outtakes, with demos, with new Beatles music. Again, exciting and something that you can sell on. And Sgt. Pepper's always been a famous album, so on the back of that you could get the news, you could make it work. And they did make it work. And they followed it with several others, including Abbey Road and Let It Be and the White Album. Already mentioned them. They too were very successful, but they're albums that Abbey Road generally considered to be the best recorded Beatles album, and still very, very popular. Go on Spotify and you'll find that Here Comes the Sun is very, very popular, as is Come Together, and other tracks. Revolver, it had its time, and yeah, it was special, my favourite album, but perhaps of them not so easy to sell as Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road. When you get to Let It Be, you've got the rooftop concert, and that always gets an interest and an audience. So it works, it does very well. And then I won't say things came to a halt, because then we got this. We got the Beatles Red and the Blue album, remastered, but essentially greatest hits albums. Greatest hits appeal to the new generation. And this is going to bring me back to where I started, because if I'm a suit and I'm sat at a table in London or New York and I'm discussing what we're going to do with the Beatles catalogue to get the next generation on board, this is going to be a really hard sell. It's not their most popular album by a long way. It doesn't have singles on it. It doesn't have, let's use the phrase, recognisable tunes. It's going to be a hard sell. I don't want to go there. We've got 4 early Beatles albums, certainly from UK and from the original ones here, if not in America. We've got Please Please Me, we've got Beatles for Sale, we've got A Hard Day's Night, 5, we've got Help, and we've got Rubber Soul. And they're all a hard sell. Help's a hard sell because of the film. The film hasn't aged well. There's some good bits in it and the music's great and it was of its time, but it's not going to be something that I think most TV companies would jump at playing again, even if it came out on Blu-ray. So you can't go there. And if you were going to, you would probably have to do Rubber Soul and Help together as they were recorded basically at the same time. Not going to happen. The easiest sell in my opinion, would be A Hard Day's Night. A Hard Day's Night hasn't aged badly at all. Whilst it was of its time, it still has a charm, and yes, I can see that being popular. But in particular, the songs are well known. It's got 2 or 3 singles on it: Can't Buy Me Love, Hard Day's Night. And I think the technology is there that they could colour the film, and they could release A Hard Day's Night, original black and white version, and the new coloured version, and of course the remixed album, and you have a nice box set. They're going to struggle with the other earlier Beatles albums, which is why I don't think there's going to be a box set of Rubber Soul. I don't know where they're going next. I wish I did. But it ain't going to be Rubber Soul. And that's a pity. So, for those of you who've got it, and those of you who haven't and don't think you know it, stream, listen to Rubber Soul. It's a damn good album, and play it loud, because you're probably not going to get another version anytime soon. Thanks. Subscribe, please, if you can.